The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
Two-year no yields went from 190 to 166 in the blink of an...
In the aftermath of the crash, it seemed like everything was spiraling out of control. Banks stopped lending, markets froze, and entire economies teetered on the edge of collapse. But behind the scenes, central banks were scrambling to fix what appeared to be a global economic apocalypse. The Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, the Bank of Japan, they were all working overtime. What if I told you that the fate of the global economy could be decided by just a few people in a room pushing a button? It sounds like a sci-fi movie, but this is how central banks can pull the strings during an economic crisis. How? Well, get ready to discover the secret weapon they use to prevent financial meltdowns, and why it's something you've probably never noticed until now. Let's face it, crises happens. From the stock market crash of 1929 to the 2008 financial disaster, entire economies can collapse overnight. But lurking in the shadows of these collapses is something you may not even know existed: the central bank. These institutions, like the Federal Reserve in the US and the European Central Bank, can literally change the economy with just a few decisions. First up, interest rates. So what does it mean when central banks lower them? Well, think of it as putting the economy on sale. The lower the rate, the cheaper it is for you to borrow money. And what happens when loans get cheaper? People start buying homes, cars, businesses take out loans to expand, and just like that, the economy starts buzzing again. Lower rates mean more spending, more investment, and more jobs. It's like hitting the economy's refresh button. But when interest rates alone aren't enough, central banks have a hidden ace up their sleeve, something called quantitative easing, or QE. It sounds complicated, but it's basically just printing money. Well, kind of central banks buy up government bonds, push money into the financial system, and give banks more cash to lend out. The idea? Flood the economy with money so everyone can keep borrowing and spending. It's like supercharging the economy. So what happens when all this works? Well, just imagine the economy recovering in fast forward. Businesses reopen, jobs return, and stock markets skyrocket. Interest rate cuts and QE can literally pull an economy out of the depths of a recession. Sounds like magic, right? But it's not without risk. But here's the thing, these tools are powerful, and like all power, they come with a price. What happens when central banks print too much money? What if interest rates stay low for too long? In our next episode, we dive deep into the risks central banks face and how they navigate the tricky balance of saving the economy without breaking it.